all four of our starting pitchers really did their thing, and of course highlighted by our wrap-up game by Mr. Shohei Ohtani, who just 10 strikeouts and 3 home runs in the same game. First of all, 3 home runs in the same game is crazy. Shout out to Enrique Kike Hernandez, who has done it in the playoffs for us before.
But then you add him on the mound.
But then you add in the strikeouts, and you're like, what in the hell? First of all, any athlete will tell you that closeout games are the hardest, no matter what the record is at that point. Second of all, I don't give a damn. If everybody can get up there and throw 10 Ks and get 3 home runs in a game, particularly in a playoff game, then everybody would be doing it. It don't matter what it is, but he did it.
Let go. Okay, I know I'm here to stay. Counting on my wins, so I can't play it safe. Trying to go against us, get you out the way. Go hard, it's the only way to play. Let me say, I'm a trendsetter. I'm a go-getter. I'm a trendsetter.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Sports Scene. It's just adorable, this intro. The leaves are changing and it's a new season.
Oh,
you see how they put those two things together? It's awesome. No, but seriously, we're here, Sports Scene. If it's your first time, welcome. We're going to give you some sports, some laughs, some controversy, our opinion on what's happening on the Haps. I'm your girl, Gloria Govan.
And I am Erica Lynn O'Keefe.
And we're going to get into it.
Hells yeah, and of course.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. This is the only reason.
Okay, we have
Turn
to
off
start.
our mic.
We have to start where it matters, which is the MLB World Series that is coming up here. Yay! The stage is set. It is my Los Angeles Dodgers that are playing the Toronto Blue Jays. It's officially the Drake versus Kendrick Part 2. Be prepared for all the pettiness because we're gonna give it to them. No, but it should be a good series that's starting this coming week. The Toronto Blue Jays actually came off of a really, really fun series with the Seattle Mariners. It went 7 games as kind of expected.
Right.
They were very evenly matched teams, and it was a really great series. So shout out to Seattle. I know the city is very disappointed in the loss, but we love Seattle. We fell in love with them. Even though y'all fans try to come for us, when we were trying to say that Vlad Jr. be doing his thing.
Just saying.
But we were just saying what was the obvious. But they should be very proud of the season they had. Yeah. Like for a while, they didn't even look like they were going to make the playoffs. So to get this far in the way that they did and to take them 7 games is really amazing. And then of course on the Dodgers side, we swept the Milwaukee Brewers, who had the best record in the league. Considered the best team in the league. So for us to do it that way, our pitching staff just they showed up and showed out like something crazy.
Yes.
All 4 of our starting pitchers really did their thing, and of course highlighted by our wrap-up game by Mr. Shohei Ohtani, who just 10 strikeouts and 3 home runs in the same game. First of all, 3 home runs in the same game is crazy. Shout out to Enrique Kike Hernandez, who has done it in the playoffs for us before. But
then you add him on the mound.
But then you add in the strikeouts, and you're like, what in the hell? I watched for all week long people bend over backwards to try to discredit Ohtani for different reasons. They were already up 3-0 and whatever. First of all, any athlete will tell you that closeout games are the hardest, no matter what the record is at that point. Second of all, I don't give a damn. If everybody can get up there and throw 10 Ks and get 3 home runs in a game, particularly in a playoff game, then everybody would be doing it. It don't matter what it is, but he did it to send his team to the World Series.
Yes.
It was impressive as hell, and it's what makes him the greatest player in the game right now today, I believe. And I'm excited to see. I'm hoping that has unlocked him because he was having a sluggish, start from
he found his stride though.
But we were saying the minute he finally sees contact, we kind of had a feeling that was going to open him up, which he did the game before. So it was really incredible to watch. I got to go to game 3 and it was a fun time. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great series. It's going to be an interesting series.
I agree. 2 things before we get into like how I feel. Do you think that when players hit home runs that the players should get the balls back, the home run balls back?
Right?
I think it's controversial.
I think if it's you mean like when the opposite team and how we throw the ball back, or you're talking about that
like
player who actually hits it?
Yeah, with like Ohtani, he hit his like in that 3rd home run. They're talking about the guy who caught that ball is going to resell it for multi-millions of dollars. So the question raises, it's not about the money, but the reality of having that piece of history.
I think if it's historic, then yes. And a lot of times what they will do is they'll get the ball back and it'll be certified or whatever it is, and they'll swap it out with something or give them something else, in exchanges of that. And I can appreciate appreciate the fans who are willing to kind of
do that.
let that happen when it's historic.
Yes.
But if it's just, you just hit a home run.
Right. No. Yeah. No, I'm talking about more historic moments. Yes.
Yeah,
also, there's a video, it's going viral, of Ohtani filling up all of the team waters when he goes to get water, which I find absolutely adorable.
So adorable.
Actually, I think I sent it to D because it talked about the reality of being a good teammate and setting its standards, and then that type of behavior then bleeds into the way that your team operates and all the things.
Yeah.
But so I was like, first of all, how adorable are you? Adorable are you? Also, I would really like to talk to Japan. Are you guys going to now invest a lot of money into baseball training and development? Because
they are.
Shit is what I would.
Yeah, we got 3 of them.
So holler at me. Let me know how much. If you guys want to bring in sports people, that's what I was headed that way.
Any excuse to go to Japan, I'm down for. Period.
Love it.
Yeah, and it's cool because I went a couple years ago for a birthday. I did my first solo trip, and Shohei had just signed with us, I believe.
Oh, nice.
And so you walk around Tokyo, and
he's everywhere.
He was already everywhere anyway, right?
He's everywhere.
But then they see, I probably had on an LA cab. They're like, "You're from LA, Ohtani." I'm like, "Yeah, come on." It's like it was really cool, to see the excitement that they had for it, and obviously watching what he's been able to do since. Thank God he got out of poverty. Sending with the Angels and came on over.
Got out of poverty.
And now we're doing a thing. I also want to say this too.
We're not going to have any guests on after that.
Whatever, it's fine. But I also want to say this too, because everybody's like, "Oh, they're ruining baseball," whatever.
Who?
That's the argument right now, because the Dodgers are spending all the money for our roster,
don't
and they
be
feel
mad because we got don't be mad because we got money. That's
not even
disrespectful.
Not even that. The bigger issue is that y'all are bailing out y'all's owners. These people are also billionaires, also have the money.
Mookie Betts could have gotten your players.
Yeah, Mookie Betts could have gotten paid in Boston. Blake Snell could have gotten paid where he was. Atlanta could have paid. You know what I mean? They made the choice not to pay their star players. We said, "Come to death row."
Come on.
They done came over.
I was going to agree with you.
Now we're winning. So I don't want to hear nothing about ruining baseball, any of that. Tell your team to get their money up and pay the players what they're supposed to pay, because they're not going to be missing any money. So y'all got to stop taking up for these billionaire owners and get with it. And also enjoy the Dodger reign.
Because they're not missing any meals. So they're doing what they have to do. But yes, I'll give my, to your point, the 7 games that just went to, Seahawks, wow. But also, because it's Seattle. The Mariners and the Blue Jays, first of all, it was wild. The last game was absolutely crazy. The 2 games that Toronto came through crushed the shit out of Seattle. So sorry about that. But this last game it came down to the wire, essentially. But I'm going to give my flowers to Toronto. Vlad Jr. and the bullpen, they are serious.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to, they're not beating. The Dodgers are still the best team in the league, in, my opinion, because I'm an A's fan. And I know, I will. Look here, everybody in the studio started giving me eyeballs. I get it, But I'm gonna be loyal. But I'm gonna root for where we are.
They stink,
and but I do think I got Dodgers in 6.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, we're definitely not gonna sweep. That's for sure. So I think it'll.
And we go where we start in Toronto.
First.
Yeah, so we go. What is it? 2-2-3. In terms of how they play, because that's how they play Toronto.
2-3-2.
2-3-2. 2-3-2. Okay, well, that'll be fun. You guys will get your games. I'm going to go to a game.
I bet you are. Can you?
Into the NFL week recap. So obviously, Raider Nation, look, I'm just going to apologize in general, but I'm still, again, going back to loyalty. We're showing some flashes. We won one, and whoa. And then we were 0-31. But needless to say, we're trying to recruit Shohei Ohtani. So if you're interested,
Fair.
if you need a side gig, bro, come on through.
I have a question before you move on from the Raiders. How do you
turn off her mic?
How do you not score a single? Not a field goal.
Not a nothing.
Nothing.
A 0. Not a nothing, girl. We barely touched the football. It's just a straight egg.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I'm just here for the apparel.
Yep.
So
did it again. Anywho, who else is popping in the AFC? Because obviously it's not the Raiders.
The Chiefs.
Okay.
The Chiefs are obviously, they're doing well. They're going back. Mahomes looks like he's back to VIP form-ish, which I'm excited to see. Look, Mahomes at his best is obviously He's proven to be one of the greats, and but he had a little rocky start as well. But he's back into motion and like his stride. So
he's getting his weapons back too. A lot of his wide receivers were injured.
Yes.
Worthy's coming back. Like so, as they start to get back to full strength, they're looking.
You'll
like
see them. Yeah,
the Chiefs we know.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna say you'll see him in the whatchamacallit playoffs. So it's here. Anyway, okay. The Colts are quietly one of the biggest surprises. This is true. I've said this for a couple of weeks. It's super random and surprising. And Thursday, Battle of the Olds, which I was kind of leads me to say Steelers versus Packers. Aaron Rodgers, who's 42 now? 41? Anyway.
He's in his 40s.
In his 40s, which is, I mean, that's not considered old at all, everybody.
No,
but
we're seasoned.
For the league, he is seasoned very well. Right? He still has juice, you know what I mean? And his old line, O-line needs some, prayer, but he's do what he do what he does.
Their defense is pretty solid, so that's been helpful.
Right.
But
I mean, they're not going anywhere.
It was cool to see them kind of see the old guys, him and Joe Flacco do their thing or whatnot, because we thought it was going to be a boring ass game. And it ended up being
like
really
a bloodbath.
fun. Yeah, it was a good time.
I agree.
And of course, I'll take over for the NFC side of things. First and foremost, with my 49ers. Listen, I am so proud of my little team. Okay, gang, gang, bang, bang, all the things, because we've been injury riddled. We lost the heart and soul of our team.
Their kicker.
Well, we got a new kicker, thank the Lord. But we lost the heart and soul of our team in Fred Warner, who is just he runs the defense and he gives us everything. And so losing him, and we had already lost Bosa, was like, oh shoot, what are we gonna do? And this past week, the boys really stepped up in their absence and did what needed to be done. And so for us to be, we don't even have our quarterback, child. We
got Cinderella
most of our wide receivers,
up.
child. We don't know what's going on, but we still 5-2. We're top of our division. So I'm really, really proud of the Niners, and see, we're on a week-to-week basis. We don't know what we're gonna get next week.
So are we.
But they're rolling, and of course, when you're looking at the NFC, you still have to look at Philadelphia. I think that they're doing pretty decently. They're 5-2 as well. And then Detroit is always a team that you always have to kind of keep an eye on.
It's still pretty early.
Yeah, it's all early, but the NFC, and especially within the divisions, are always so tight that like all these games really matter when it comes down to it for playoff positioning and stuff like that. Like I think we're 3-0 against our division rivals and stuff like that, which is going to be huge for us later.
Right,
so that even if we do drop a game or two, like it
won't be as impactful.
Playoff seeding will matter, especially on this side. It's funny because I feel like in the NFL, AFC versus NFC is kind of similar to NBA in the like East and West, sort of that. Like one side is just stronger than the other, and NFC feels like it's just more collective of stronger teams than on the other side.
Yeah, I agree.
And so because of that, like we do have a lot of long ways to go, but they're everything's tight and everything matters. So those teams are really good ones to kind of keep an eye on, see what they're doing. But we had a really wild, fun set of games this past week. So, the NFL is in full swing. Yeah,
yes, no, I agree.
Oh, I also like to share that oh my God, my fantasy football team.
I was going to say, check in. Yeah, what's going on?
Terrible, okay?
Oh.
Terrible. This
Don't
week,
check in.
I lost on both teams. Here's my problem. Because of all the injuries, this has been the theme of this season so far in the NFL. Injuries across the board. Everyone's getting hurt, which is, sucks for the players themselves. Like, y'all, we got to be better as fans. Like, I get it. We're doing our fantasy football. Y'all are betting. Y'all are doing the whole things. But these are people who, you know what I mean? They can't help.
The comments or the threats?
Yeah, and all that.
All of
you know
the
what I
above?
mean? Yeah, all of the above. If they don't play well or if they get hurt or whatever it is, folks are like really going ham. And it's like, y'all, like, that's your problem. You got a gambling addiction. Call that number. Like, that's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not the player's fault. You know what I mean? But with that being said, like, literally on both of my teams, like half of like my quarterback was like Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had Kittle, who's finally coming back, but like half of my team literally like got hurt.
Yeah.
So now you're like scrambling, and don't nobody want to trade. So now I'm just trying to get who's like left on the block, and it'd be like a Raider or something. So it's. I had to. It was right there. It was right there for the taking. So it's been struggle city, but I am 5-2 in one league.
Okay.
And
do you lose money like every week, or
no,
is it just one big pot at the end?
It's the pot at the end.
Right.
So I was second in that league. I gotta look and see where I land now after last night's game. I probably dropped down to like third, which And then the other one.
Not so much. We're not even going to talk about.
I'm just there for the friends I'm making along the way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not in any event. And what's crazy is that, like, the players I have on that one, like, they were actually promising. Really, yeah, they just have stunk it up from week to week. You know what I mean? It's like Drake London. It's like, bro, what are you? You're Drake London. What is the problem? What are we doing? But I digress. Anyways, all that to say, as you guys have been interacting with us so much more, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys, tuning in on stuff.
You.
Please tell me who each week I need to be playing. I need to be looking out for.
Wait, but don't you have to tell them who you have?
They know what.
Yeah, they know.
Go back and check. Okay, but I'll post this week. I will post this coming week for sure. My roster. I will post who I need to start and sit, and who is available to pick up off of the waiver wires. I will have that for you guys, and I need help because I got to win at least one of. Please help me. I need to win at least one of these leagues
in order. For the pot.
So for me to feel better about life. Yes.
Okay. So. All right, y'all. Well, you heard the girl. Goddamn it. Get into our DMs. Start commenting. She's gonna help her Jerry Maguire moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Help me.
Okay, well, as we are moving on, we're going to get back into the NBA because it is the best time of the year. It's like Christmas for sporting fans. NBA is back. Boom, bam, bam, bam.
Yes.
We are going to be, that's right, because I'm in it. NBC is actually going to be airing some games, which is the first time in 20 years that they're going to be coming back on this platform or that platform, which is wild this year. I'm sorry again, but there's like 8 different platforms you guys are going to have to download and start logging into to be able to catch your NBA games. It's ESPN, it is the NBA League Pass, Amazon Prime, NBC. Am I missing one? TNT this year. So, just good luck. But it's wild. Unfortunately, you got to go to one platform for one game, another one for 2 more. But map it out, okay? Map it out. So, but anywho, big moves this offseason. Russell Westbrook, and he was on Denver Nuggets. He's not going back. 18th season, which is phenomenal. But he is going to be joining the Sacramento Kings. This season, so that'll be an interesting one. Some other serious talent remains unsigned, which is wild. I don't know what's happening like here with some unsigned people. But you have DeMar DeRozan. Do you guys remember that episode, that commercial with him and Drake? But speaking of the Warriors, we are still dangerous, obviously. Steph is still Steph. We waived, but then I think we signed back his brother. Which I thought was adorable. Back? Yeah.
Okay.
They waived him and they were like, Steph was like, y'all don't. I think he pulled Giannis and was like, you guys better sign my brother.
But I mean, at least his brother is actually like serviceable.
Fair. Because Giannis's brother is definitely questionable.
They're there for moral support.
Absolutely. It's wild. And everyone knows it. But the West is still going to be brutal. We talked about that. The West is always going to do their thing. Even the teams that finish at the very bottom, the Spurs. If you have at least even seen Wembanyama, which is he's like the 7'2" French guy. First, rookie season did kind of meh, but he's been posting a lot more of his post season journey, and he's getting stronger, faster. Like he has developed really well. So I think the Spurs will have will be boosting themselves up a little bit this season, a little stronger. And what else?
Similar to kind of what we were saying with the NFL, the West as a whole is just much stronger than the Eastern Conference.
We always lead.
And there aren't many weak teams in the West this year because of even the Spurs who have, haven't had great seasons as success. A whole, but they have a bona fide superstar face of the league in Wemby who, and they surrounded him with some really good pieces as well.
Finally.
So I think that they're going to be interesting. Obviously we know, Houston I think is the biggest one on the clock. With them having Durant, and he just signed a deal that's basically going to have him retire a Houston Rocket. It sounds like it's the plan. So it's championship or bust for them. The Lakers are always in the mix, obviously, with Luka and Bron. Listen, Bron is going to do the whole slow ramp up to the playoffs. Like, y'all carry it until we get there.
No matter what.
Because old. And I get it. I deal with sciatica. I couldn't even be mad with homeboy, okay?
First of all, LeBron spends $1 million on his body, and then Father Time was like, but sciatica.
Don't give a damn, okay?
That's cool. Tell you something.
Listen, look these nerves nerving, okay? Ain't nobody got time for that.
Pobrecito. 3 weeks out is wild.
I don't know if y'all ever dealt with sciatica. Let me tell you something.
It is painful.
The worst.
And you can't stretch it out. You can't eat it out. You can't, like, nothing,
the whole
right?
thing.
You can't put a hot patch on it. Nothing.
It's
like,
the worst.
You can't sit. You can't stand.
So I get it. I'm like, I get it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, take your time, do your thing. But, I think the Lakers will always be in the mix and whatnot. And obviously, OKC is defending their title.
Yes.
They're still have the same crew, so they're still going to be great. Dallas is an interesting one because everything, as with anything, health contingent, of course, but with them in particular, especially with AD, it's super health contingent. However, they are long, athletic, and a really solid, well-constructed squad.
They're going to be dangerous.
So they're going to be one of those kind of like sneaky teams that like people kind of forget, if Kyrie's health, all of that, like that people kind of tend to forget about, but like you won't when they play in your team kind of a thing or whatever. So I think Dallas is kind of a really, really interesting one in the West to deal with. And of course, y'all know y'all got my Clippers. I'm really excited for this upcoming season. It's Kawhi's first healthy off season, and so he actually got to play preseason games, and that's been really cool to watch.
Still time management though, minute management.
He's not going to do back-to-backs, of course, or whatnot. And there'll be probably times where they pick and choose it, but he kept working out through June so that his body can get adjusted back to that.
Okay.
And then again, a healthy off season, and then the reason why he played in preseason so that he can play. This is the thing. I get the jokes and everybody wants to do a thing, can't stand Stephen A's ass. He was just recently talking about Kawhi and how much he doesn't play and all that stuff. But it's because narratives precede reality. And Kawhi's actually, over the last couple of seasons, played more games during the regular season than a lot of other players that people don't talk about all the time who actually sit out and all that type of stuff. So I think he'll play a healthy amount of games this season, as he has been working his way to doing. But after last season, they found a much better game plan for his knees that kind of will help extend his
like
season.
PT for it? Okay.
Like the way that they're approaching it changed from last year. That's why he was able to be healthy, through the playoffs last year and all that. And so I think they found something that, knock on wood, that they like so far. And then we have Chris Paul coming back, which if you know anything about the Clippers and our love and affinity for him, like he means a lot to us. And so when he checks in on Thursday, I'm sure on Friday it's gonna the dome is gonna go crazy for sure.
If you guys don't know, Chris used to play for the Clippers with the Splash Brothers, Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. Oh, DeAndre Jordan's not signed, which I found to be interesting too. Yeah, and he cut his dreads off. Everybody on the Clippers is old, so DeAndre Jordan should have a home. But that's crazy. Yeah, and he's adorable. He cut his hair, which I absolutely adore, and he donated it. So go you.
So we're super excited for the season this year. Clipper Nation is lit and ready to go. But ultimately, we're super excited for the NBA season. This one the energy around this season just seems to be different. I think that it's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be fun. The Eastern Conference, they got hit with a lot of injuries. So Jason Tatum is out. My Holly, Tyrese Halliburton from Indy, he's out.
Yeah,
so
Damian
Lillard is out. So it's kind of one of those things to where Giannis is still in Milwaukee, and so he always makes them interesting. But the rumors around him wanting to leave are like really rampant. So we'll see if he makes it through the whole season there. Otherwise, you're looking at the young guys like Cade Cunningham over at Detroit to like take advantage of this opportunity. You know what I mean? Even Trae Young with Atlanta, they built a really good squad around him during the offseason. So you look to see what they can do. So I think while the East is depleted and not as exciting as the West, I do think that we'll get a chance to see some of these younger guys and some of these teams that otherwise normally aren't in the mix.
Highlighted.
Yeah, get to have their time and their moment to shine. So I'm actually really excited to see how they emerge on that side. So, and Orlando, I think they're going to be another interesting one on
There's
the
going to be
East.
some sneaky ones. What's tough about like any team or any league is once you do play them and then you get adjusted to their style of play, then you end up getting adjusted. I think that's what happened to Phoenix a couple of years ago. They came out and everyone was like, "Oh my God!" And then the following season, everyone was like, "Yeah, but now that we adjusted our defense, like they're no longer." Yeah. So we'll see. But it's started. So look at us. Woohoo. Tune in. Make sure you download all your apps, and pull your savings out of savings because to be able to afford all that is wild. But that leads us into the going back to football, college football, which has actually been really exciting, a little dramatic. There's been a lot of off-field, drama. But college football is giving us entertainment and controversy all at the same time. At North Carolina, quarterbacks coach Armand Hawkins, you, sir, was suspended amid allegations of giving impermissible benefits to players, which,
Don't they all do it?
Thank you. I was going to say, what is the problem, people? I just hate that they pick and choose who they want to use as examples, because let me tell you something. You guys are all of y'all are guilty of it. And in reality, it's kind of like, well, what's the problem?
Correct.
But, again, another podcast for another podcast. And yes, the NCAA trying to tighten up with new rules, changing for 2025, including limiting media timeouts in extra periods and tweaking overtime timeouts to keep games faster.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? That's kind of
yeah.
I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know. I wonder how it's going to affect the game, if it does at all.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know that I watch college football games and think, like, this needs to be faster.
Right.
I'm like, this is taking
this
so
is
long.
Too many commercials.
I mean, unless it is like, unless y'all want to start implementing some skunk rules, right? Because then there's those like games where it's like 52 to 12,
right? You're
7.
like, just
I'm
wrap
like,
it up, y'all. Yeah, exactly.
Speed through them timeouts.
Yeah.
You know
Do we need a fourth quarter?
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, I don't know. It just feels like they're just doing stuff. And
yeah.
I guess good luck to that. The other thing that's happening in college football is the coaching carousel. There has been a lot of firings and hirings and
I was
going to
bring up what's his name from Tar Heels.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, his girlfriend is doing a thing, y'all. And
Bill
she
Belichick.
is what?
Yeah.
Which is wild. And I mean, look, they're not absolute trash, you know, but I think her influence, or what seems to be her influence, is just taking over storylines.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to have a whole reality show on Netflix or whatever it was, and they got canceled because they was like, we're not dealing with her. Like, that's wild.
Crazy.
Like, what are you doing, Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she comes down to the field.
Yeah.
And she stays. And then it's interesting because you could see her talking to him, and then she still sticks around. Like, people are like, do we hire you? Did we hire her? Who is she?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
So but there are a lot of turnaround.
It's a lot of turnover happening. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, after a while, some of these coaches, you do need to move on from them. But it's really been hard because some of the coaches that have gotten fired were either just had a relatively successful season the season before, or, like things along that nature. And so, as we know, sports landscape, but particularly college and down, is already just in a weird space right now as a whole.
Yep.
And we focus a lot, obviously, from the, player side of things, particularly with having kids in sports and all that. But like, it's equally in flux on, upper management, which is, coaching and all that type of stuff. And so we'll kind of see who survives this season. I feel like depending on how this season ends up, it's also going to be like the off season is going to be another chaotic one for that very reason. We're going to see a lot of movement.
Unfortunately, though, you can't necessarily you can't go, oh, so-and-so has a target on their back, because to Erica's point, like, success isn't determining, keeping you on or off.
Yeah.
There's been a few coaches where I've been like, excuse me, what? But he did relatively well considering who their team, is, or what players they had to work with, what they're doing with the program overall. And then they 2 weeks later, they're like, and fired. You're like, well, damn, that's not nice.
Have you been keeping up with Ohio State?
I mean, subjective. Keeping up is, like, relative.
She's already failed her mission. There's not a whole lot to talk about with my children because we just lost and I'm just annoyed. But
I had 2 teams, right?
Yeah. Do you know your second team?
Okay, ma'am. Relax. I've been off LSU a lot, so I haven't been paying attention to what they are doing on the fields, just because they got a lot happening off. So but
she's failed already.
I have.
Okay. Now, how about this?
I'm gonna get my shit together.
We're going to do our wonderful monthly update on NHL because we're trying to learn the NHL game. Gloria,
yes.
What's happening with the Vancouver Canucks?
The Canucks, everyone, look strong and early, led by Elias Peterson, who's already top 5 in puntos.
Oh, nice.
They are skating with purpose this year.
Okay, so y'all are doing all right, huh? Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
On the other hand, my poor Kings are not doing as well to start the season. It's a little... It's been a little shaky.
A little dicey.
I think we've only won 1 game, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? We're going to turn it around because it's still early. So, fun fact, the season features players from over 20 countries.
Yes.
And the most international NHL players that they've had in the league history.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I mean, obviously, hockey is a thing here, but I know, like, Canada in particular, hockey's like
a thing, is the
life.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, is to them what football is to us or whatnot. So it's interesting to see kind of the different cultures and all that represented.
Right,
and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, I will come back the next time we talk hockey and tell you that my Kings have turned it around. They have had a breakthrough because right now the struggle is real.
Going back to, some of our more professional, like our ladies in these professions, we have to obviously give a huge shout out to the Las Vegas Aces. Asia Wilson, back-to-back champs. She's not just building a resume. She's literally building a legacy. She has done so much both on and off the court. She has her shoe. She is MVP. She is out there ball with her boo. Which absolutely adorable who showed up for her. I thought it was so cute. But the Aces are, did their thing. Shout out to you ladies. I know they're controversially going into, negotiations now. So good luck with you guys on that. Our hearts and prayers are out for y'all to get what you deserve. So, yeah.
Yeah, winning 3 out of the last 4 years is phenomenal.
Three-peat.
So, yeah, shout out to the Aces for doing your thing. Shout out to Asia for being amazing. Her boo now takes center stage. He plays for the Miami Heat. Bam, out of bio.
Yep, no, try it.
So congratulations to the Aces and their fans. Yeah. So, of course, we like to do a segment called Sports Parenting 101, which you guys have seemed to enjoy. So we will bring you more and more of that just to kind of have an idea of what to look for, what to think about when you are dealing with your kids. So we want to talk about the overtraining trap.
Right.
Because
it is a trap.
It is a lot right now, and we are in the era and a time where, like, everyone's a trainer, everyone's a sports guru, everybody's a something, so they're trying to sell you on why your kid needs all the thing, and we got 5-year-olds who are now getting trained. Like, we're just doing a lot, everybody. So I would love to hear your thoughts, your feelings about kind of when's a good time to start, what is considered overtraining, what's it look
all
like?
The thing. Well, to your point, I mean, overtraining, training in general is a double-edged sword. I understand it's need, it's a necessity, but I still think that if you have the ability to let your child play in multi-sports up until, I would probably say, like, middle school, please do so. Like, please, please, please allow them to continue to, play run track, play soccer, swim, if I don't care what they do, ride a bike, like just all these, because what's happening is when we are shoving our child into a one sport so early, they're overdeveloping those particular muscles and they don't get a chance to develop like the other muscles that aren't in like continuous use. So then it is more injury prone. Then you do get more, more fatigue and burnout at an early age. Whereas if you get exposed to different things, like if you look back at the history of sports and how many athletes actually, LeBron talks about it, hell, and it's starting to become a little bit more like kids are starting to like kind of jump into a little bit more. But at this point, it's a little too late. Athletes are diving into multi-use sports during high school, which I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay.
But what I would say is that we grew up playing multi-sports. Yeah. And the reality is that just helped develop us holistically. All of our muscles, all of our training, our ability to use both sides of our brain, putting us in different positions of pressure, of circumstances, of situations, of, putting yourself in an opportunity to develop within controversy, yep. With different teams and teammates. We're just missing out on all of that. But I do get it. When the boys don't train, I'm equally on their asses about, how many shots did you put up today? So, we're like, what time are you going to training? Well, how was practice? So I understand the double-edged sword. I get that it's a trap. I really do. But everyone does consider themselves a trainer, which is hard for me.
Yeah.
And some of the audiences talked about like not having great coaches.
Sure.
So maybe they need exterior training or third-party training, which I get. But what I would say, and Derek and I have talked about a little bit about this more recently because we're dealing with it with our own kids, is if you have multiple trainers, then try to see if your trainers and your coaches can all speak on the same page and language, because this is what ends up happening. I'll use Isaiah and Carter as an example. They'll be at practice and they'll put up 500 shots. They'll run, they'll do explosive drills, etc. Then they go to training and then they do shots and then they do explosive drills. They work on the same thing. So instead you go to your trainer, you go, hey coach, so-and-so, we did X, Y, and Z at practice today. And then hopefully if your trainer is good, they'll adjust their time with your child to develop what they didn't already work on for 2 hours. So therefore, then they start to activate and navigate different parts of their game, like again, on a more 360-degree level. So you're not overtraining the same things that you're doing over and over and over again, because that's where you start to get injured. So if you can, as a parent, again, I'm not saying training is unnecessary, because it is. If you have the ability and financial capabilities of allowing your child to just develop in multi-sports until they're about middle school, please do it. If you are training outside of like practice with your team, what I would suggest you do is have a conversation with your trainer about what it is that you're practicing and working on, so you don't overtrain or overdevelop those things. And then last but not least, because it's a double-edged sword, I would take on some training. There's different ways to train. You can take your kid to the beach, right? You could make them do sand dunes. Let's just say you don't live by a beach. You can have them do the grassy knoll. There's hills everywhere. You could have them do just different, speed, explosive work inside a garage. Training does not require of Olympic style, multi-million-dollar facility. You could do a lot of this stuff at home. If your kid can do 50 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, squats, all these things can be done at home. And so don't be afraid to just allow them to replace temporarily, right? Like kind of, or mix up those type of trainings, because you do need them to develop, again, holistically. And last but not least, sleep literally solves everything.
It does for me.
Amen. I need some sleep right now.
I'm not good when I don't sleep.
I'm not either. I'm terrible.
But I love
person.
that.
I'm a terrible
I was
person.
going to ask about like the different types of training, because I think that's kind of also part of the trap, right? Like, everyone feels pressured to put their kid with a trainer, with certain type of trainers, particularly starting so young, because that's the trend, right? But like, back in our day, you know what I mean? Like I remember being at the beach with my brother at the crack of dawn, and he ran the sand, you know what I mean? And let me tell you, I don't know if you've ever done the sand dunes or ran in the sand or trained or worked out in the sand.
The worst.
Baby, it is
so
awful,
hard.
But your whole body, it does a thing. So I do hope that parents don't feel pressured because of social media and kind of just where things are. And there's always already a nervous energy around trying to get your kids to the next level anyway, because of the transport, all the things that you have to it has to look one way, or it has to be a certain way, or you have to find them, not everybody can afford, all that type of stuff, whatever. And so there's so many other alternatives to help your kid develop in the way that they need to. But I'm a big fan of playing multiple sports while you're young. Not only just from a training standpoint, but like fun. I think we have to kind of still keep things in perspective, and kids should be having fun with sports, particularly pre-middle school, you know what I mean? Like if they're, it's the cutest little thing where you're seeing all the little kids running around with their little flag football,
I know. Yeah, they got the little stuff
or like playing their little t-ball or whatever it is. But like the fun of it, the park and Rexon Park and all that type of stuff, it's the thing that makes them fall in love with sports in a different way, so that it doesn't become a job so early on and so much pressure filled. And I think if we can go back to creating that kind of environment, then we'll see athletes and these young athletes really soar, so that when it is time for them to lock in, they have this different level of love and passion for it. So then they have the hustle for it. Now you're not having to beg them to go do all the stuff. You know what I mean?
That you already paid for.
Because it's no longer a chore. I think a lot of times what's happening is that we're forcing them to do all these things that are so professional before they're ready. And so by the time they get to the place where we need them to like really hone in to get to that next level, it's a chore for them at this point, because there's no real autonomy in the way that they've gotten to approach it. There's no fun in the way they've gotten to approach it. There's no really payoff to an extent, because you don't even know if it's going to get you to where you're trying to go, right? So if we kind of like mitigate a little bit of that by saying, ultimately, obviously we know what we want it to be, but if nothing else, if you made these friends, if you had a good time, if you had an opportunity to be a kid, while you're growing up and dealing with the pressures of the world as is, then I think we will develop, better young people.
I agree. And I think what to kind of put a cherry on top of that, the multi-sport thing also allows your child to realize what sport they want to play. I think a lot of it's decided for them so quickly.
Yes.
And then they're not even sure. So it may not have been burnout if they were playing their favorite sport, but because, you're making them, soccer, and they're like, but I really wanted to football. then they, by the time they're out of high school, they're like, look, you can keep soccer. I'm good. Like, we're done now. I appreciate you, but no thanks. So and I still think it just, again, allows them to dip their toes into all of the things that just go, I actually love hockey. Like, I want to do that. So, and then you get to, then figure it out. So
I love that. Well,
here we
did it. We are in Sports-a-palooza. This is the best time of the year with all the sports things. So we got you covered every 2 weeks, these solo episodes where we will tap into what's been going on over those 2 weeks, what to look forward to over the next 2 weeks in between our guest episodes. We really, really appreciate you guys for coming. You guys are starting to follow along. You're commenting. You're getting involved. Please, more. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, engage with us. We are really excited for what's to come, and we'll see you guys again next week. That is
Gloria.
I am Erica, and we will talk soon.
Peace. Bye.